Alright, welcome back to, I guess, the Knowledge Dump series. In this video, I'm going to talk about working retail and sales. It's not going to be all the sales job I had, but it's going to be the ones that relate to when I was in retail. And so, I think in the previous video, I talked about my door-to-door sales. After my first door-to-door job, I ended up getting a job at Sears. And this is while I'm in high school as well. And that Sears has since been closed, of course. And then after that, I worked at Office Max. And actually, I was working at both of them for a period of time while still in high school. And so afterwards, I went on to do T-Mobile sales. I've also worked at Target. I worked at Walmart. I've worked at Costco. I worked at quite a few other places. Here, let me go back to my notes. Where else have I worked? I've worked at Sunglass Hut. I've worked at a couple of car dealerships. And that's going to be kind of the limit of where I put the retail and sales. And so the knowledge that I want to share with you guys is how to actually, I guess, do well in these jobs. These jobs, sometimes they can just be mindless jobs. So when I say mindless jobs, I mean jobs where you don't have to think too much about what you're doing. They are jobs that you just kind of go on autopilot and you just do and you finish up before you're into the shift, and then you get done, clock out, and go home. I like these kind of jobs because, like I said, they're kind of mindless, but some of them, they are sales related, so I want to tap into some of those. When it comes down to retail, though, you guys have to understand how people work. And sometimes the common consumer is not as bright as you. And that's because you work there. You're there every single day. Sometimes people only visit this place once in a few months, maybe once in a few weeks. Maybe this is their one time that they do it a week because they come every week, but they do it only one time a week. Sometimes they come one time a year. You have to understand that they aren't in that environment every single day. So when they get there, they're going to have to adapt themselves to that area. And so they may lack knowledge on things that you think are very common sense. And sometimes you kind of question, like, how do you not know that? This should be common sense. But once again, they're not you. They don't stay in this environment in terms of being around retail. Because normally when you're in that setting, you probably make some friends as well too that's also in retail, and you guys relate to each other because you share stories about how was your experience in retail. Well, this is what I have, and what's your experience like, and I have this. For the common consumer, I don't go into retail stores every single day, so how am I supposed to think about that? And that's kind of just how you have to think about that when you're in retail. And so this goes into some of my next points, which is you have to be very, very nice. Doesn't matter what job you have. You could be working at a cashier place. You could be working at stocking. You could be working at the actual sales. You could be doing whatever it is in that place that you're working in. And you're always going to have to be nice. Now, when it comes down to that, I know that some people are going to be rude. When they come into these settings and they're not used to these settings, some people don't know how to actually communicate correctly, and so they get frustrated, and that frustration can turn into anger. It can turn into lash outs. It can turn into sometimes violence. And if it turns into violence, you need to step out of the situation and try to have other people come in and help escalate the situation. But if it is just, verbal escalations where you're just kind of talking to this person, they're getting frustrated with you or whatever, there's a couple things that you need to do. First, maybe just pause the conversation for a moment and just say, hold on a second, I'm having a really hard time understanding what it is that you are trying to accomplish today, so can you please just break it down to me in very simple terms as to why you came today and what you're trying to accomplish. Well, I have this problem and I have this problem and I need you to solve it. That's better than, I don't care, or I don't know why you're yelling at me, or blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is that you have as a rebuttal, you need to maybe suck that in for a moment and just be respectful. I know people aren't going to be respectful, but that's why you work there, because they pay you to be respectful. So you do need to always represent the company as you're working there. And so done rambling about how to treat people, because it is kind of common sense that you should actually treat people well, and it should be in your training too. Whenever you work at these jobs, they treat you how to respect people, and they teach you how they want you to like approach their clients or customers as they come in, and how they want you to go about doing business with them. And so I'll let you refer to your own training on that. But when it comes down to getting the most out of the situation, you really do have to take it in either one or two ways. So if you have one of those jobs where I was saying where you just kind of pass by the time, you want to make sure that you're working at a retail job that you are going to stay busy at. This could be a place like, for me, I worked at Costco. Costco just stays busy for some weird, interesting reason. So the shift just goes by quickly. So you don't have to worry too much about, well, when's my break? Well, when do I have to clock back in? Like, the time goes by quick when you have a good retail job that is going to keep you busy and you like what you do. If you have a retail job where it's slow, you don't like the product, you don't like what you're serving, you're going to end up hating this job. Yeah, it might be money for now, but is money really worth it in the long run? Some people, yes. So if you're in that situation, make the best out of it, suck it up, quit crying, and just get through it. If you really want to do something better, change jobs, get a new one. Not saying you need to leave retail, but when you're in that retail settings, you put yourself there. No one forced you to be there, so make the best out of it. Now, when it comes down to other retail jobs where you actually are going to have to sell, or if they're a little bit slower paced, when it comes down to making the most out of it, you have to figure out how to delegate your time throughout the shift. So if you have certain tasks that need to be done throughout your shift, you need to make sure that you're doing that within a certain amount of time. And I'm going to go back to my example of working at T-Mobile. Some of the side things that we need to do is, of course, keep the store clean, wipe down phones, go through old paperwork if we have them, and maybe shred them, or if not, maybe put into CRM of customers that you had that you didn't finish up with. Whatever it is, you need to figure out a time to get that done. And then when it comes down to actually doing the main job, like I said, refer to your training on how to actually do the job. But when you are in that sell position, you want to make sure that you're trying to make the most out of each sale. When you do that, I'm sure that you'll probably get the most incentives out of it, whether it be a commission, or it could just be extra benefits, or it might be nothing, but it could be recognition to help you get to your next position within that company, if so be it. And so I guess the main point that I'm really trying to make out of this retail and sales video is that it's not really that hard to work these kind of jobs. You just need to know what it is that you're selling, or what it is that you're going to be talking about during your shift, getting knowledge about it, and then being respectful and having a smile as you share that with people that come into the establishment or whatever it is. And so yeah, I can't think of anything much more to really share about this one. Just do your best with it. I'll go into more about sales on a hardcore, like the higher end stuff, on a different video, but this is just like retail. And so retail jobs are, like I said, they don't usually require you to think a lot. So have fun, and hopefully you find something that you enjoy. And so yeah, peace.